All right, Billy Zardo, Z3, getting ready for the 2016 season. It feels like every year this Sunset Speedway late model roster gets deeper and deeper. This year, it gets deeper with the addition of your younger brother, Lane, former Superstock champion in his own right. What's it like right now putting together two limited late models to get ready for the Sunset season?
Yeah, first off, thanks for having me. It's pretty intense. I mean, me and my brother are always in the shop, and we're definitely putting our minds together, and we're getting the best people to help us work on the cars, and I mean, you can't ask for a better crew than what we got, and everyone's busting their butts off to get both of these cars ready, and they're just about ready now, and we're excited to go.
Now, as far as you're concerned, now having a teammate with a very similar car at the racetrack with you, is it going to make things easier, especially if you have a season kind of like you did in 2015 when you fall into a bit of a slump?
Yeah, for sure. He's always been there to help me and pick me up, and same as I was for him, but it's going to be a little better now, seeing as we have both cars in the same class. We're hoping to get a couple 1-2 finishes here, and for the most part, I'm really excited to be racing with him. I know I raced against him a couple times when he was running for John Marquette, and we had a blast doing that. So very excited to be running against our own equipment as well. So a lot of head work and monkey grease is going to be going into both cars instead of just one car sort of thing.
Is it going to be difficult having both cars at the track as far as hired help goes, as far as the crew goes? Because I know you guys have pretty much had the same roster of helpers year after year since you both started racing at Sunset. Is it going to be difficult to have sort of all hands on deck for both cars now that they're in the same division?
Yeah, before we were able to space it out a little bit. A couple of guys unfortunately had to miss one of our races to get the other car ready or whatever. But for the most part, this crew, we only do have a handful of guys with us, but they're all on board. They know what we need to do, and we have a specified person for each car, and then we have a couple of floaters that go where they needed to go. So as terms of having enough time, it's going to be cutting it close sometimes, but at the same time, we don't have to get one car ready before the other. We can work on them both together, so that's pretty good.
I guess your season this year, it's you're not going to really need to play the mentor role for Lane, because I guess he's already had a bit of experience running in the top division. So are you hoping that as a team, the two of you together, you'll be able to sort of hit the ground running on night one and get a good start to the season?
Yeah, for sure. It's very important to start the year off good and clean. Even to pick up a top 5 with the division we're running in. Momentum is such a big key. I mean, I remember 2 years ago we had a rough start, and then it carried on for most of the season until pretty well 3/4 of the season it got better. So if you get a rough start, you're going to have a rough season all in all. So I think if we can both pull out some good wins right off the bat and a bunch of top qualifiers, I think we'll be good.
You mentioned top qualifiers. Last season, it felt as though you really started hitting your marks in terms of qualifying prowess. You got awfully good at time trials as the season went on. Is that somewhere where you feel as though you might be able to continue improving as 2016 sort of hits high gear?
Yeah, I've always felt like we had a top 8 to top 7 car every week. It was hard pushing that 41 and 19 off of the top qualifying spots. But now that I have the old 19 car, I'm going to see what we can do here with this newer chassis. It's not brand new, but it's quite newer. And a big thing we're going to be focusing on this year is qualifying runs in practice and getting the car set up right for that as well. Because it's going to be a lot different as well with the no tire doping, which I'm very excited about as well. I don't like the tire dope. I think it takes away from the driver. And I'm happy that they're banning it.
You know, I've done a handful of these season preview interviews already, with late model drivers, and I haven't had one guy tell me, man, I'm really going to miss doping tires.
No,
there hasn't been one team that's expressed that they want to bring the tire soak back. I think everyone's pretty united in how excited they are that it's now outlawed.
Yeah, it's very expensive per tire what you're doing with it, and now that everybody knows how to do it, it's not really an advantage. It's just whoever puts more tire doping for a longer period of time. And with the longer period of time, it also comes forth with the hydro and the energy and everything like that. And, I mean, it adds up quite a bit per tire, and we want to keep the cost down in our division. We're already spending quite a bit of money, and the last thing we want to do is go out and spend another $100 to $150 on each tire per week. So it adds up quite a bit. So I'm definitely happy about it.
Now, for you to say it's very expensive, tire dope is very expensive, for someone like myself, I'm not really in the know. I don't know how much a barrel of tire soap costs. So walk me through the process, because I know it's not just one application for a race night. So how often are you putting it on, and how much does it cost a race team like yours if tire soak was not outlawed this year?
Well, what we used to do is we would do it anywhere from 6 to 8 hours per tire a week, which is quite a bit. A barrel of tire dope, can go anywhere from $150 to $200, which is quite costly. And when you're buying about 3 bins every couple weeks or whatever, it gets up there. Now, I did hear that other people were doing it 6 hours a day every single day during the week, and then another 4 hours on Saturday just before they get the cars unloaded. So that's just behind the grapevine hearing, but that's what I've heard.
So either way, it's all good. It's all positive that they're no longer allowing. I mean, I understand that it's chemicals and poison that's going right into your lungs as well. So it's not a safe process either by any means.
No, not at all. It's definitely. I'll come in from the shop, and my girlfriend will know I was doping tires, because you can just smell it from a mile away, sort of thing.
Now, you're hopping out of a Port City car into a McColl Racing Enterprise chassis. I get that so many of these cars are very similar these days, but there's still some different subtle nuances between the chassis manufacturers. Is it going to be a big adjustment for you going from one brand into another?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's hard to take what you've been doing for the last 5 years and switch it right away. I mean, the same goes for, we used to run the crate, and now we're into a built. It's going to take a little bit of getting used to, some practice, but I have confidence in myself that once we do get the car figured out, I can change my driving style a little bit if needed, and we can bring it to victory lane.
Now, is this going to take a lot of practice time to get this car up to speed? Because I know that you had a start in the car last year, but it ended awfully quickly, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes, it did. Well, the way I look at it last year with this car is we did 2 heats and a feature. I went out and I won both heats and qualified pole, and then I blew up. So, I mean, I'm three quarters of the way good, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to take some time, I would imagine, to get used to this car. With you guys being located in Brampton, that's not a short jog to the Speedway. Are you going to be able to have a lot of testing prior to opening night?
Yeah, we're going to get out there on a couple test days. I'm not sure how many, but when we do get out there, we're probably going to end up spending the whole day out there and trying a bunch of different things. Going to try the way, sort of float back to the basics of the way we had our other car, and slowly move forward in the right direction, and not go too much, obviously, but it's going to take some getting used to, but I'm sure, I mean, I have the best crew for it, and we got people on board that are more than willing to help us out, so we're definitely going to be going in the right direction, I think.
Where would you slot your program if you were ranking everyone on the Sunset roster? Overall, would you consider your team, are you top 5, are you top 10, based off of last season, where you are right now, where would you rank your team?
I mean, I'd probably rank it in probably about 5th or 6th right now as we sit. I mean, we finished 4th. We got some really good lucky runs. We kept our nose clean for most of the year. It's just, I'm not saying top 5 just because we didn't pick up a win last year. I mean, I know a lot of guys didn't because Holloway was on quite the hot streak. But I would like to get to victory lane a couple more times. I mean, I'm not a points racer. I've always said that. So with the whole program, the way we're organized and everything, I would say definitely 5th or 6th.
Well, I mean, the best way to point race is to win, right? So
exactly.
If you go out there and put that car as close to the front as you can, I think the points sort of have a way of figuring themselves out.
Of course.
Now, the roster this year is going to look very similar to what it did last year. You sort of take Whitty out and put Lane in, and other than that, it's almost the same. I don't know if we'll see someone like Taylor Holdaway go on a run like he did last year. I think 14 wins in a season was just one of those magic career seasons. I don't know if we'll see that again this year. Do you feel as though we're going to see more parity and maybe we'll see more winners than we did in 2015?
I think because of the no tire doping, you're going to see a lot more drivers have to get up on top of the wheel rather than the tires sticking themselves. I definitely think you're going to see a lot more front to mid-pack battles. You're going to see tires going away a lot sooner because people will forget that they don't have the tire dope. You're going to see tire management a lot more in the pits, too. People are going to be out there with the notebooks 24/7, looking at each tire and figuring out the lifespan of each tire because it's very important. So, yeah, I definitely think there's going to be a lot more battles for the lead and stuff like that. We should have a good year this year.
Now, Sunset Speedway track promoter Mark Dilley and head of tech Mike Brown have both issued a statement now that if any late model driver is caught doping tires at Sunset, it's an automatic 5-week suspension. In your opinion, is this something that we might see guys try to push the limit with? Do you think that guys might try to sort of slip in there and maybe not dope as much, but still try to go to the tire soak in 2016?
There is a very fine line between getting caught and not getting caught. Race car drivers normally tend to walk that fine line quite a bit, but I think personally for this year, seeing as it's such a big ban, it's not just from Sunset, remember, it's from Flamborough, Delaware, Sauble, APC Series, the super late models at Sunset. It's such a big variety of a ban that I think that people are going to settle down with the tire dope. They're not going to do it this year, maybe towards the end of the year. They might try and figure something out, but personally, I don't think anybody's going to go on and try and push that limit right now.
Now, when you realized, or when your grandfather made the decision, if I can spit the words out, that Lane was ready to move up to the limited late model division and inherit your ride, when the talk was sort of passed around of picking another car up, how quickly did your team make a decision to buy another limited late model? Why not a super late? Why not a pro late model? Why was the decision made to get a second limited late model for you?
I mean, you go to Sunset Speedway, it speaks for itself. You watch the racing of the limited late models. Fortunately, I'm able to be in it. The racing there is phenomenal, and we want to race with the best, and there's no other best people to race against other than the limited late models at Sunset. We could have gone with the super late model package, maybe the Oscar or something. But to be all honest, right now we don't have the funding for that. It is something we were looking at. We put it down on paper. We were discussing it, but we really like the way the limited late model program is run, and we wanted to race each other, right? So there's no way we could have afforded 2 APC cars, for instance, or 2 pro late models even. I mean, the limited late models are very fast, but the pro late models, they're quite a bit more costly when it comes to the clutch and everything like that. So we decided to go with the limited late models. Plus, we already had one, right? So.
How much enjoyment do you and your brother get out of racing one another? I know that it didn't happen on a regular basis the last few seasons, but the rare opportunity that you had to race with one another, what's that like for you?
Oh, it's great. I mean, it would just be like me going out and racing against my grandfather or my dad or even my cousin Pete Shepard. Just to know you got another family member out there, but I think you race each other harder than you would somebody else, to tell you the truth, because you want to prove something to each other. And it's basically like a sibling rivalry too, right? Like I can pick on my brother, but nobody else can, sort of thing. So that's what it's like, really.
Now, heading into this season, is there funding there to run both teams full time? Is there a possibility of that?
Yes, as long as no serious big accidents happen on either one of our parts. We got to drive smart this season for sure until we lock down a little bit bigger sponsors. But as it sits right now, if we can get through all the races and not have some crazy damage, we will both be running the full season.
Well, that's fantastic news.
Yes.
It's a big undertaking, but that's awesome. So have you given any advice to Lane on how to sort of integrate himself as a full-time late model racer? Because you made this jump years ago from a super stock to a late model. Is there any little bit of advice that you might be able to pass along to him that's going to make this season a little bit easier?
Yeah. My brother is quite an aggressive driver sometimes, and I basically told him, when you get into somebody, you definitely got to lift. It's not like a Thunder car where you can just kind of push them through the corner. You jack somebody up, and it can cause chaos with that person, you, and everyone else behind you. So the biggest thing I told him is patience, look for your corners, and mind your own out there. Don't put your nose where it shouldn't be for a little bit. I mean, he is a rookie in this class, but he's not a rookie at the same time. He's gotten his feet wet quite a bit. He's raced my car a couple times, a couple years ago, actually, and then with Mom Marquette and everything, and he did really well. So I think he's going to do fine.
Now, with you sort of, you're becoming a bit of a veteran now. I mean, you've been around.
Well, don't say that. Don't say that.
I'm saying, man, this is far from your first year. You know, you've been around a long time now. So I got to ask, do you sort of feel the pressure now to kind of really ramp things up and jump into the championship conversation? Because you've been close a few times, but close but no cigar, as it were. Are you kind of feeling that 2016, you got to put something together because you've been around for a few years now?
Yeah, like you said, I'm not a rookie anymore. I mean, I'm far past the learning curve. There's always things to learn about the car and stuff, but as far as success goes, we definitely got to get something going here. We've had some great seasons overall. But the biggest thing is going out and looking for that championship this year. I know we can do it. Our whole crew is ready for it, and we're working well together. I don't even pay my crew. I pay them with pizza. So we're definitely stoked for this year. We got to put some good races together and keep it up for the championship.
If you could pick a crown jewel event to add your name to win, if it was the Gary Reynolds Memorial or the Canadian Nationals or the Velocity 250, the Autumn Colors Classic, I mean, if there was one event that you really want more than anything else, which one is it?
I would say the Velocity. Nothing would be better than winning a crown jewel at my home track, where I've raced for the past 5 years and stuff. I've always loved going to Peterborough for the Autumn Colors Classic and stuff, but nothing spruces it more to me than looking at the Velocity 250 winner right there.
All right, so let me put you on the spot right now for opening night's coming up. Where it's a month and change away now.
40 days, same as my number.
There you go, buddy. 40 days. So what does Billy Zardo need to do to park that car in victory lane on opening night? I mean, what's the secret here?
Head focused and keep consistent through the whole race. That's what I got to do. I got to qualify well, stay up there, stay out of the garbage, and park it.
You mentioned qualifying well. How difficult is it to drive through the field at Sunset when you only have a limited amount of time. I mean, these aren't long races. So if you start deep, how hard is it to make up those positions in a short amount of time?
Well, if you look at all the qualifying times from last year, everybody was 1/100th of a tenth off of each other, 200ths of a tenth off each other. So that just proves right there that everyone is so very close that you basically either need someone to mess up or you need to mess them up to get by them. So driving through the traffic is no easy walk in the park because everybody is so close. You're spending sometimes 4 or 5 laps just to try and get by one person. So the better you qualify, definitely the better chances you are to staying up there.
Well, I'm happy to hear that both you and your brother are going to be out full-time. I know that takes a lot of financial commitment from your marketing partners. Go ahead and shout them out. I mean, who are we showing some love to for getting you guys to the racetrack in 2016?
Of course. First, I got to thank my grandfather again for everything he's done, my dad and the whole crew for countless hours of support and dedication working on the car and everything. Big shout out to Mike Holmes, Homes on Homes, National Exhaust, Better Contracting, Smart Screen, Hassel Automotive, and I would like to welcome on a new one, Holland and Crosby, Signage and Screening. They're coming on board this year and helping me out.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, buddy. 40 days, my friend. Looking forward to seeing if you can get that car qualified in, start at the front and take down a big win on opening night.
Great. Thanks a lot, buddy.
We'll see you there, man. Thank you very much for the time. Best of luck this year.
Bye.
Billy Z3 Zardo ready to go in 2016.